Sitting. Okay, so we're going to start in a very upright position. Pressing your feet to the floor, your big toe, your little toe, inside of your heels. You push down through the floor to give you that strength to be able to activate your muscles from your ankles to your knees to your inner thighs. So you're working your midline and ensuring that you're in neutral pelvis. We'll go over that once we're on the floor, but always two ASISs, your two hip bones, in line with your pubic bone, whether you're standing, sitting, side lying, or in a prone position. So today's class is your foundation pre-Pilates to take you through a full range of exercises from standing to seated, side lie, 4-point and prone. And I'm going to also go through what is neutral spine, because that is the most misunderstood thing in the world of Pilates. So to start with, let's breathe. Put your hands on your lower ribs. I want you to breathe in through your mouth and nose fully to the side of the ribs, little into the front and to the back. Breathe it in, expand them. You should feel your fingers go wider because you've opened your intercostals. Exhale slowly through your mouth like you're breathing out through a straw. Activate your pelvic floor, draw your abdominals in towards your spine and observe your ribs narrowing towards your hips. Breathe in to the side and the back and the front of the ribs. And exhale slowly, draw the abdominals in and allow the ribs to funnel. Last one, and we're going to take it even bigger into the upper ribs. So breathe it in, push through the floor, ground through your feet, keep the shoulders relaxed, expand all the way up into the middle ribs. And exhale, draw the abdominals towards your spine, activate your pelvic floor and allow your ribs to funnel towards your hips. Take your arms down by your sides. I'm going to roll you down to the floor via an articulation of the spine, which involves flexing your head over your shoulders over your ribs, and you're just breathing through this, no particular breath. Then your ribs roll over your hips, and then your hips over your legs, as far as you can go without bending your legs. Then take a deep breath into the side and the back of the ribs. Let your head relax. Exhale, activate pelvic floor. Draw your navel to spine and stack your pelvis over your legs. Drawing your pubic bone towards your navel, stack your ribs over your pelvis, your shoulders over your ribs, and your head over your shoulders. Breathe it in. Exhale, pull up tall. Exhale, head over shoulders, shoulders over ribs, ribs over hips, hips over legs. Breathe into the side and the back of the ribs, and as you exhale, walk forward into a downward dog. And in this downward dog, make sure you're endeavoring to keep your heels down as much as you can, stretching through your calves, so we're getting parts of our body to have a nice stretch. Stretching out through the shoulder girdle, stretching the calves and the hamstrings probably a little bit, letting your head relax and allowing it to be in between your biceps. Inhale, exhale, rise up onto your tiptoes and walk your right hand out, your left hand out a little far away, and tuck your tail under, scoop through the abdominals, extend through the upper chest, and you've come into a plank. Breathe in here, spread out your thumbs and your pinkies as far from each other as they can, and ensure that the creases of your elbows are facing inwards. Breathe in and place your left shin on the floor. Breathe out and place your right shin on the floor. We're going into 4-point kneeling series. Arm reaches. Inhale, exhale, extend your right arm forward by your ear, and you shouldn't have moved your spine at all. And inhale, bring it down. Keep your shins pressed to the mat to help stabilize the pelvis as you exhale and extend your left arm forward. Inhale, a little bit of pressure through your right hand to create space to bring your left arm down. Exhale, take your right arm out. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, take your left arm out. Inhale, bring it in. One more each side here, and as you slide your right arm out, you should feel your right scapula draw down through over your ribs, and take it down. Extend the left arm and feel the left scapula glide over the left ribs, and down. So secure that position of the 4-point, and when I talk about the creases of your elbows, I'm talking about the inside crease facing in towards each other, so that we don't have hyperextension in the elbows, we bring them in. So anyone with shoulder problems particularly needs to focus on this. So spreading the thumb and the little finger away from each other, and it's like, I like the image of, like I'm pulling the creases out of a tablecloth. I want to pull my arms apart. Then you'll feel the muscles in the back of your armpit working. You'll feel your lats, your lower traps, and you will also have a nice little rotator cuff muscle, your teres minor, working to keep you in good position. And that will give you more security. Well, let's see if we can hold that position as we go into a leg extension. So inhale, exhale, press your right shin into the mat and extend your left leg away without moving your pelvis at all. Inhale, bring it back into where it came from. Exhale, press the left shin into the mat and extend your right leg away from you. And come in. This time we're going to actually lift our leg off the floor, but I want to just make sure that we've got the back of our neck lifted to the ceiling. I'm going to demonstrate what it shouldn't look like. Head down there. Now if you wear a ponytail and you're in my class, you'll get your hair pulled up gently. You've got to reach the back of your neck to the ceiling. Your neck has 7 vertebrae in it, C1 to C7. I always say, think C7, the last vertebrae in the cervical spine, lift it up towards the ceiling. Inhale, exhale, press your right shin into the mat, extend the left leg, keep it going, extend it so far that it comes up off the floor so that it's actually even in line with your spine. Not too high, not too low. And you still could put a cup of tea on your sacrum at the back. And push through the arms and the shin as you inhale and bring the leg in. Exhale, extend the right leg out, extend it so far that it comes off the floor, so your glutes and your hamstrings are working strongly here, as are your abdominal stabilizers. And inhale, bring it down to the floor and close it back in. And exhale, extend left leg, press right shin into the floor. You need to create these counterbalances so your body doesn't overwork in any particular area. Check the creases of your elbows facing inwards, lower that left leg, bring it back in, draw your abdominals in, lift your ribs towards the ceiling. Exhale, extend the right leg, press the left shin into the mat, and reach the leg long. Reach it, lift those abdominals. Make sure your buttocks are even on both sides. Lift the abdominals, everyone. Lift them in towards the spine. And inhale, lower down. Now we're going to go on to pointer. We're going to put our arms and our legs together. Inhale, exhale, press your right shin into the mat and your left arm as you extend your left leg and your left arm away from center. Now lift up through the abdominals. I'm seeing a few abdominals sag to the floor. Lift it up. Lift it nice and firmly. And inhale, coming in. Exhale, extend the left arm and the right leg. Push up through your right hand and press your left shin into the mat. Draw that left shoulder blade down towards your pelvis and inhale, lowering down to 4 points again. Extend right arm, left leg. Exhale. Now really think of gliding that left shoulder blade down your ribs at the back. Inhale, lowering down. Last one. Extend the left arm and the right leg. The left shoulder blade goes down. Come on, point those legs further, further, further. And lower down. And sit back onto your heels. We're going to go into cat curls. A cat curl is something that some of you may never have done before, and it is where we take our pelvis from being neutral and we posteriorly tilt it so much that it's like our tail is coming between our legs towards our pubic bone. So I'm contracting the front line, but opening the back line of my body, but only coming up as far as I'm just lifting my butt off the floor. So instead of sitting down onto my heels, I've lifted a little bit, tucked into a posterior tilt, reach my hands so forward, and don't have your arms go too high. It's arms parallel to thighs. Squeezing the inner thighs, scooping the abdominals, lengthening the back of the neck. When you sit down, you push your arms back like you're pushing back a wall of water. So you're working your triceps there. Exhale, tuck, curl and reach. Inner thighs together, not too high. Go a bit lower there, Cassie, that's it. And inhale, sit down, push the water back. And just take your arms to just by your side. So even though I say push back, it's like you get to the midline of your body. Exhale, tuck, curl and reach. Scoop. That's it. Oh yes, very nice. Let me see that all the tension is out of the neck, nose to knees. And inhale, sit. Now we're going to do 3 in a high kneel. So you sit up because we used our glutes and hamstrings to sit up tall. And the same thing, you would do this high kneel one more so for people who can't sit on their heels. If they've got some issues with their knees, this can be contraindicated. So we do it from a high kneel and start with our hands by our sides, and we end up in the same position. So you inhale, exhale and scoop, tuck, curl and reach, squeezing those inner thighs together, and then push those arms back. Use your glutes and hamstrings to sit up into that high kneel. And exhale, scoop, tuck, curl and reach. Inhale, push the arms back and tall. Open the collarbones, crown of the head reaching to the sky. And exhale, tuck, curl and reach. And inhale, push those arms back. And then gently sit down onto your heels. And we're going to reach our arms forward and go into a lat stretch as a transition. So I'm very big on transitions in class. So when this position, which is pretty well like a child's pose, we're focusing on a latissimus dorsi stretch. So from where it attaches to the humerus and goes along the lateral border of the scapula and all the way down to our pelvic ring. That big sheath of muscle, we're trying to stretch it. So take your pelvic ring as far away from your upper arms as possible and tuck your tail under, and you'll feel that stretch through that muscle sheath. Breathe in and exhale, release. Breathe in, exhale, and this time sit up by tucking and curling, and one vertebra at a time coming up to sitting. Reach forward, cross your legs over, sit on your bottom, take your legs out, and we're in an upright sit. We're going to use this as a transition to go down to the floor. Now the way that we're going to do it is through a C curve. This will test the strength of your abdominals, and always trying to get all of your feet to stay on the floor. If it's a challenge and your toes keep curling up, it's usually an indication that you may be stabilizing a little bit too much through your hip flexors. So we need to say hip flexors, try and stay quiet. Inhale, Exhale, draw your two sits bones towards each other. Bring your tail between your legs. Scoop your abdominals. Open the ribs at the back and look at your navel. So your ribs are open at the back, your ribs are closed at the front, your abdominals are towards your spine, then you roll forward and then you sit tall. And exhale, sits bones together, pelvic floor activated, roll back off your sits bones, reach your arms forward, roll forward and sit tall. Shoulders down, collarbones open. Exhale, draw your abdominals towards your spine, scoop, open through the ribs. Inhale, roll forward. This time we're going to go all the way to the floor. Inhale, exhale, scoop the abdominals, draw your two sits bones together, roll down, you get to your sacrum. Keep scooping your abdominals, don't let them bulge out. Bring your knees a little closer towards you, lower your lower ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs, head and arms to the floor. Breathing in, we're going on to knee floats. But before we do go on to knee floats, I'm going to show you what this looks like. A knee float is exhale, float one leg to tabletop, where your shin is parallel to the floor. And then we go back down on the inhale. Exhale, float one leg up. Inhale, come down. Or we can do it in double time. In half time breathing, which is exhale up, inhale up there, exhale down. But before we do that, I want to ensure that we've all got a sense of what neutral spine is. So I'm going to use a pelvic clock as a way to teach you to do this. So make sure that your knees are bent to 45 degrees, so you're in what we call a constructive rest position. You all have got that. And your arms are down by your sides with your palms down. And press your feet into the mat firmly with the idea that you're trying to flatten your back to the floor and your pubic bone will go higher than your two hip bones. And your abdominals will naturally scoop towards your spine. Then you inhale and come back the other way, and there's weight going off your feet. Your waistline comes away from the floor, and your pubic bone is lower than your two hip bones. And then exhale, press your feet into the floor. You'll feel your glutes work and your hamstrings a little bit, but mostly working through the transversus abdominis and your pelvic floor. Inhale, hip bones go higher than your pubic bone. And exhale, scoop. And we call this way 12 o'clock. And then when you go down where your pubic bone is lower than your hip bones, we call that 6 o'clock. So 3 or 4 more times, finding how that feels in your spine. And you should notice that your head is moving in response. You're not forcing the movement, but you're actually articulating each vertebra as you reach that particular level in the spine. We know through the anatomy of our spine that we have our head and we have the 7 vertebrae of our cervical spine, 12 thoracic spine vertebrae, and then 5 big roots of vertebra in our lumbar spine, because they have to take a lot of load. And then we have our sacrum and our coccyx. You're going to stop where it feels halfway between those 2 points. Now this should be where your pubic bone and your 2 hip bones are on the same plane. It's different for everyone. There is not one look of a neutral spine. But a neutral spine should include a neutral pelvis. It's the key indicator of how well my spine is going to be proportioned in its curves if my sacrum is centered on the mat. And when your sacrum, that means the most protruding part of your sacrum, which is the curved out bit, the middle bit, is the bit of my sacrum that's pressing most into the mat. When I say pressing, I don't mean pressing, I mean connected. And you feel, everybody see if you can get your hand in behind your waist. There should be just a little gap, you know, not flattened to the floor. And then your ribs, your mid-thoracic area, that will be more prominently connected to the floor. Then your cervical spine comes away from the floor, and again the back of your skull is onto the mat. So this is our neutral pelvis and our neutral spine. It's where our body is optimized for movement, because every part of the spine is in its natural curve. So as we do the knee float that I demonstrated before, I don't want you to move out of that position. So the next 3 exercises I'm going to teach you are excellent pelvic stabilizing exercises. And they actually teach us also to not only stabilize the pelvis, but to do what we call hip dissociation, which is moving the leg independently of the pelvis. Let's give it a go. Breathe in to the side and the back of the ribs. Exhale. Activate pelvic floor, draw the abdominals to your spine, press your left foot to the floor and float the right leg to tabletop, with no movement in any other joint other than the femoral head inside the acetabulum. Inhale here and exhale, lead down with your toe and anticipate the touchdown so there's no adjustment before we go to the other side. Inhale. Exhale, press right foot to the floor and continue as you float the left leg to tabletop. Draw the abdominals towards your spine. Inhale up here and exhale, go down. Inhale, exhale, float right leg up, scoop the abdominals, activate pelvic floor. Relax the back of your shoulders, and the next exhale, we float the leg down. Inhale. Exhale, float the left leg up, press right foot to the floor, inhale, and exhale, lead down, anticipating that you'll have 2 feet flat on the floor. Now we're going to go into knee sides. This takes us into our transverse plane. So I'd like you all to put your hands on your hips, so your fingers are facing inwards and your thumbs are around the side of your hips. This exercise doesn't involve your feet moving anywhere. So I'm going to demonstrate. Inhale, exhale, rotate your left leg out, but only as far as you can go, keeping that left foot on the floor. So it will engage your glute medius here on the side that externally rotates. You inhale there. As you exhale, press your left foot into the mat and you'll be activating your inner thigh muscles, your adductors. You're in the central position. Inhale, exhale, rotate your right leg away from center, pressing the right foot into the mat, elongating out through that right knee. Inhale out there, exhale, come back in, drawing your abdominals towards your spine. Inhale, exhale. Join me if you haven't. And exhale, left leg goes out to the side. Inhale out there. Exhale, come in. Inhale, exhale, rotate the right leg out. You imagine that your pelvis is like a bowl of water. You don't want to spill any of the precious water from your bowl. Exhale, bring that leg back in. Feel the inner thigh muscles working. The reason I've got your fingers at the hips, keep going while I talk, is I want you to have your 3 middle fingers just over your ASISs, your hip bones, to determine whether your hip flexors, so whether it's your rec fem or your psoas tendon, whether it's flicking, because you shouldn't be needing to engage your hip flexors here any further than they are, because they're already on a little bit. All we're doing is externally rotating a leg. We're not actually lifting it towards us in further hip flexion. Now we're going to go on to knee tag, which is a little more challenging. So inhale. Exhale, take your left leg away from center. So you have to work your internal obliques here to stabilize you from going too far. You've inhaled. Now exhale, take your right leg over to the left as well. So both legs are going over to a parallel angle to the left. So your internal obliques on your right side are working quite significantly to stop your pelvis from rocking off the center. So keep these guys anchoring you down. Then you inhale and bring both legs back to the center. Exhale, rotate your right leg away from center. Inhale. Exhale, take the left leg towards the right, but they don't touch, they're just parallel. Now your left internal obliques are helping to stabilize you. They're working to keep that side of the pelvis down in neutral. And inhale to center. Exhale, left leg goes away. Inhale, exhale, the right leg goes towards the left. So right internal obliques are working. Inhale, bring both legs back to center. Exhale, rotate right leg away. Inhale, exhale, left leg comes towards the right, really scooping across your whole transversus abdominis, but as in addition, your left internal obliques. Inhale to center. Exhale, rotate the left leg. Inhale. Exhale, rotate the right leg towards the left using your right internal obliques. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, rotate the right legs. Inhale. Exhale, the left leg goes. Relax the jaw, relax the throat, the shoulders. And inhale to center. We're going to go back to our theme of hip dissociation, and we're going to do the third exercise in this series called leg slides. So you can place your hands back down by your sides if that's your preference. And if you're getting a bit tense in your shoulders, you shoulder people, you might want to externally rotate at the shoulder joint and have your palms facing upwards. Then you've got a little bit more sense of pressing the back of your shoulders into the mat. So inhale, prepare, and exhale, slide the left leg long along the floor. So you're doing knee extension. And you haven't moved yourself out of your neutral pelvis. Inhale there. As you exhale, engage your pelvic floor and abdominals. Bend the knee so it goes into flexion. Put the foot down as soon as you can on the floor, because by having that flat foot there and dragging your foot in, you'll be engaging your hamstrings more strongly. Inhale, prepare in that central position. Exhale, extend the right leg out, opening through the front of that hip without moving the pelvis out of neutral. Inhale here, and exhale, engage the abdominals, pelvic floor, flex at the knee, put your foot down as soon as you can, and slide it in so that you've got that right hamstring doing some work. Inhale, exhale, extend the left leg out, keeping your pelvis nice and still, spine in neutral. Inhale, exhale, bring it back in, foot gets down, use the hamstrings. And the challenge is to know that your legs is coming back to even. So you must make sure that you keep the legs, when they're bent, at the same degree of flexion, bringing that leg in. One more on each side. I just observe how well you're all doing it. Keeping nice and neutral. We often find if we've got socks on, if you're doing this exercise correctly, your socks will start to peel off. Nice breaths, good breath, inhale and exhale. Really open through the front of the hip. These are preparatory exercises to enable our clients to be able to do more challenging exercises. Because if you don't know how to stabilize your pelvis or to dissociate at the hips, you're going to have problems when you start doing all of the more difficult traditional exercises. And relaxing there. because I'm now going to go through the way we teach how to activate pelvic floor and abdominals here at Tensegrity Training. So you're going to do a little pelvic clock again, so your anterior and posterior tilt, and just observe your head moving. If your head does not move in response to your spine moving, it might indicate that you've got a little bit of excessive tension in your neck extensors on the back of your neck. And then stopping at the midway point. So this is where you will see that I'm the queen of imagery. I've got an imagery cue for everyone. So if there are chocolate lovers in the room, or there are champagne lovers in the room, or there are straws and butterflies and trains and scorpions, we've got the lot. Because you never know who's in your class. So just don't use the chocolate image if someone's trying to be on a diet. Or if they're a recovering alcoholic, do not give them the champagne cue. So know a bit about your clients. So I think it's a good idea to put your hands on your ribs, like we did when we were standing. So you expand out into the ribs and you're breathing in through your nose. Because when you breathe in, your diaphragm will descend down towards the pelvis, so your lungs can fill up with air. Now as you breathe out, you want to force the air out because it makes the diaphragm come up like you're squeezing toothpaste out of the bottom of a tube. And it will push the air out of the lungs so you get rid of all that excessive CO2 that you don't need for healthy functioning of the body's tissues. So try that a couple of times, but we'll do it to a count of 4 on the breath in. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out for 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in, 2, 3. Expand the ribs. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Drawing the navel towards the spine, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm hoping, and you're all going to put a thumbs up if this is the case, by the time we got to 5, 6, 7, 8, did you feel that the abdominal muscles were actually contracting a little bit more strongly and you felt supported? Yeah? Everybody did? And I observed well that you didn't move your pelvises, because if you see clients drawing their abdominals in by flattening their spine, and some schools of thought will tell you that. If you've got your arms and legs in the air and then your head up, there are some places that say flatten your back to the floor. I totally disagree with that, because then all you're doing is using your rectus abdominis, which goes from your sternum to your pubic bone. You don't want that to bounce and bunch and work. You want your pelvic floor and your lower abdominals. So if we do lift our arm and leg and head, still press your sacrum into the mat, but use your external obliques and to strengthen you, and your transversus abdominis to stabilize you. Your lumbar spine will elongate a little bit, so the curve in your lumbar spine will get a little bit less, but you never flatten your back to the floor. That's just, it's an easy way out. It's not the way to produce a good, healthy, robust spine in the long term. So let's go back. You've got the breath in for 4 counts and the breath out for 8 counts. Now, how do we get the pelvic floor to engage with that? What I do is use imagery. So when I'm working with clients for the first time, I always use hands-on. And we'll cover this in other units where you need always to ask permission to touch your clients. But generally they come to Pilates because I want a hands-on methodology. So you would just go in and you would put your hands on them firmly with authority along with your permission. So let's just check in. Has everybody got their feet hip width apart? So Cassie, you need to move yours in a little bit. Some of you will feel like you're pigeon-toed to start with, but what we're trying to do is get, so So our big toe, our little toe, and the inside of our heels are parallel. And the more that you can get your big toe and inner heels to work, you'll feel your adductors work. Is that so? You're feeling your inner thighs work? Because otherwise they sort of hang out to the side and then we overwork our abductors. So always feel that that's happening. Always work efficiently and effectively. So that's the good position for your feet to be in. Now to get the pelvic floor to activate, use a couple of images like one that works a lot with people, and it's very simple, is you go into the loo to do a wee and you stop mid-flow using the muscles that you would use. You would never do that because it's very unsafe for your bladder. So you just contract those muscles. So whether you're working with male clients or female clients, it's the same musculature of the pelvic floor. So that's one way to activate the pelvic floor. The other is to imagine from your pubic bone to your coccyx is like a top of a drawstring bag. So that from my front to my back, and my pubic bone is here, but my coccyx is actually higher. It's on a diagonal. It's not flat like that. So some people use a term like an elevator, which is a good image for activating pelvic floor, but it's actually on an angle. So from my pubic bone to my tailbone, imagine that I've pulled a drawstring bag closed. So at my back, I'm just closing the drawstring bag. Or if you're someone who likes images of bone work, like bony images, think of taking your pubic bone to your tailbone. So pubic bone to tailbone. Pubic bone to tailbone. But in all of these images, no bones work. You just use, no bones move. You just use the imagery. So we'll try stopping the flow of urine mid-flow, taking your pubic bone back towards your tailbone, closing a drawstring bag. Or the other one is to think about sucking something up inside you, these are images that students have come up with in the past. You know how you drop a pebble into a pond and it has that ripple effect? Imagine that you actually want to pick the pebble up out of the pond with your pelvic floor. Pick it up. Although some people have suggested that they'd rather a diamond or a pearl than a pebble, so if you'd rather something more valuable, there's more motivation to use your pelvic floor. Others have said they'd like a bottle of champagne there, so that sounds a bit painful, but whatever image works for you, trial that, because you've got to get that really secure in your body before we go on to activating the transverses. So I want a breath in, side, back of the ribs. Breathe out, activate pelvic floor. Whatever the image is, stopping the wee, pubic bone to tailbone. The other one I forgot to say was drawing your two sits bones towards each other. So you can take pubic bone to tailbone, or just simply your sits bones that are really deep up in the pelvis, think of drawing them together, drawing them towards center. That will activate pelvic floor because we have your transverse perineal muscles actually connecting left to right sits bone. So if everybody's got that, I'm going to leave you to your own image, but I will say activate pelvic floor, because now I'm going to go on to how do I activate my transverses. So breathing in, as soon as you start the out breath, you activate pelvic floor. Then you imagine you have a straw with a green pea in it. Suck up this green pea up the straw from your pubic bone to your navel. At the same time, try and draw your two ASISs